to the Faith Community. We are neighbors seeking harmony, a place where we are free to be. We are the Faith Community. You're welcome here. 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 You're welcome here to the Faith Community, where healthy relationship is the key, where love expresses our divinity. We are the Faith Community. You're welcome here. 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 You're welcome here.
Well, this is the day that the Lord has made. And because the Lord has made this day, you and I can show up and be our whole authentic selves in it. Welcome to the Faith Community Atlanta. Welcome to worship. But most importantly, welcome to a moment of rest. We get to just take a moment on our Saturday to lean into God and sit with God for just a little bit as a community. We may be scattered, but we still are gathered collectively in this moment. So listen, I need you to do me a favor. Right now in the virtual sanctuary, I need you to greet your neighbor. Give them a virtual hug, a virtual high five, a virtual fist bump, wherever that is. Tell them it's good to see you. I'm so excited to be in worship with you. And while you're at it, go ahead and tag about 5 people. Let them know that the Faith Community is live right now. Listen, we have been in our therapy and theology month all month long. It's been amazing. I don't know about y'all, but I have gained so much from all of these sessions. So could you please show Pamela, Princess Isha, and Robert some love in the chat right now for the amazing sessions that they have done this month. And listen, we started the shoe throwing delegation this month because it's been so much brilliance happening in these sessions. If you missed it, I don't know what to tell you because we've been throwing a whole lot of shoes, and the shoes are going to continue to be thrown today because our lead pastor, Christian Smith, is about to close out Therapy and Theology Month with a powerful, powerful word. So that's why you need to call your friends right now and tell them that they need to get involved in this. I'm ready to hop into worship. I don't know about you, but before we do that, can I just take a few moments to pray over our time together? So if you could get in your posture that connects you with the divine, and let's go to God in prayer. God, we thank you so much for the opportunity to be in this space, this holy, divine space with you. God, thank you that you hear us, you see us, you love us, and you are the God that does sit with us. Would you meet us wherever we are? We thank you that you have promised us that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. So wherever we are right now, that we have access to freedom because your Spirit is with us. God, bless our time together. And whatever part of the service that we're in, whether it is the music, giving, whether it's announcements or the word, would you please just speak to us, to give us some encouragement, to give us some motivation just to keep going, to help us refuel for this upcoming week. We thank you in advance for what you're going to do, what you've already done, and we thank you for what you're going to speak to us through this service. In your precious name we pray, amen. All right, y'all, let's go. Let's worship.
Come on, everybody that's on the stream this evening, give God some praise wherever you are. This simple song is just about moving and giving God glory and praise. The song says, we come to lift our hands and give you glory. We come to lift our hands and give you praise. Come on and sing.
We've come to lift our hands and give you glory.
We've come.
We've come to lift our hands and give you praise.
We come to lift our hands and give you glory. We come to lift our hands and give you praise. Everybody in the room say,
we've come to lift our hands and give you glory.
We've come.
We've come to lift our hands and give you praise.
Give you
glory.
Give you
Give you glory.
Oh.
We've come to lift our hands and give you praise. Give you glory. Give you glory. We've come to lift our hands and give you praise.
Come on. Let's put our hands together this morning. Oh, we come to clap our hands and magnify you. We come to clap our hands and give you praise. Everybody in the room say,
we've come to clap our hands and magnify you.
We've come.
We've come to clap our hands and give you praise.
Give you
Give you
glory.
glory.
We've
come to clap our hands and give you praise. Give you glory. Give you glory. We've come to clap our hands and give you praise.
Anybody got a dance in their spirit? Oh, we come to do our dance and send up Judah. We come to do our dance and give you praise. Come on and say,
we've come to do our dance and send up Judah.
We've come.
We've come to do our dance and give you praise.
Give
you glory. Give you glory. We've come to do our dance and give you praise. Give you glory. Give you glory. We've come to lift our hands. We've come to clap our hands. We've come to do our dance and give you praise.
Come on, if you really came to give God praise today, just join us in this little vamp. Come on and say hallelujah.
Hey TFC, welcome to another worship experience. I don't know about you, but worship is my favorite time of the month at TFC. I'm not saying I'm trying to worship every week because that's a whole lot of work, but it's still my favorite time of the month at TFC. And therapy and theology is my favorite month of the year at TFC. So I'm excited today. Right now, we're going to take an opportunity to worship God through our giving. We have been in the midst of our hybrid fund campaign. If you're not familiar with that, we're going to put a graphic up on the screen right now to kind of introduce you to it. This is our fund to reintroduce in-person gatherings into the life of our church. We're keeping the commitment to our virtual community, which is why it's called the Hybrid Fund. We want to do in-person and online worship with the same standard of excellence, and that requires us to invest money into some more technology so we can do it well. And we need your help wherever you are, all across the country. As Mariel said earlier, we may be scattered, but we're still gathered. I don't know about y'all, but I think we should talk to Waffle House about putting that on the menu. I want to be able to order my hash browns scattered and gathered. Mariel, you better trademark that. But anyway, we're raising money for the hybrid fund so that we can come together. At this point, we're almost a third of the way there, and we need your help. So you can give today on the Givelify app. There's an envelope there that says hybrid fund. We need you to give. You can go to CashApp. Just make sure you put in the memo line hybrid fund, because we still have other obligations to meet as a ministry. We still have bills to pay. So if you don't indicate that you want the money to go to the hybrid fund, we'll just apply it to our general budget. So we're asking everybody, take some time to give above and beyond what you would normally give to help us raise this money so we can get back to doing in-person gatherings with the standard of excellence that we've set. Then there's one more opportunity for those who would like to directly purchase something that goes towards the hybrid fund. We want to invite you to adopt a wish. We have a wish list on Amazon. We're going to put the link in the chat right now so that you can have access to that wish list and you can buy something from the wish list that will be shipped directly to us and go right into the technology we need to do hybrid gatherings. On that wish list, there are items as little as $5 to $10 all the way up to $500. We're asking you to adopt one of those as a way to contribute to the work that we're doing. So again, you can give on Givelify, you can go on CashApp, you can go to our website, thefaithcommunity.org/give. There's also some information on the screen about where you can mail us a check if you'd like to support in that way. And also, you can go to the Amazon wish list and adopt a wish. Trying to create as many opportunities for you to support as you see the work that we're doing and the change that we're creating in the world. So as we prepare to give, I want to invite everyone to say the giving affirmation along with me. This is what we believe as a community about giving. Let's all say it together. I don't give out of guilt or obligation. I give out of gratitude for what God has given to me. I give because I believe in what God is doing through this community for me and others. I give because I believe that it will come back to me, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I am loved, accepted, and affirmed here based on who I am, not what I have. All right, everybody, let's do our part as members of TFC and give to the vision that God has placed in all of us. Let's give.
Good afternoon, TFC family and friends. I am here with the TFC Top 3. So the 3 most important things that you need to know this week are as follows. Number 1, we are still in the middle of our Hybrid Fund campaign. We would greatly appreciate it if you would consider donating to the Hybrid Fund.
We are making a great effort to do ministry with the spirit of excellence in the building, online, and in all spaces hybridly, both at the same time. And so we would really, really appreciate it if you consider donating to the Hybrid Fund. It has a very special place in my heart as I do all things production, and we want to do this work well. We want to do it in a spirit of excellence. And so we are really, really asking that you help us in that endeavor and support. And then number 2, we are coming back in the building. So we are launching the TFC choir. Yay! And so if you have an ability to sing, if you are vocally inclined, then we would love for you to fill out the form letting us know that you are interested in joining the choir. The live event that they will be doing will be held on Sunday the 26th from 2:30 to 4:30, which is tomorrow. So if you want to be there, meet us at Northeast. It'll be from 2:30 to 4:30. We'll be doing auditions. Make sure it's someone you know that is musically inclined, whether it's you or a friend. We want people who can add value and beautiful melodies and harmonies to the choir. And then last but not least, the third thing that you need to know is that it's the end of the month. So that means therapy and theology is coming to a close. And so next month in October, we'll be doing the Context series. The Context series is the series where we say, if you take a text out of its context, all you're left with is a con. And so we go through different biblical stories and scriptures and ask that question and figure out what they're actually talking about. What's going on here? And so next month we will be in the Context series, so be sure to join us for that. And so that is all. Those are the top 3 announcements that you need to know going on here at TFC this week.
I grew up as a preacher's kid in a home where we did memory verses before we would eat meals. Anybody else have to do memory verses growing up when families still ate dinner around the dinner table together? Well, we always had to do memory verses in my home, and there was one verse that was disqualified from the memory verse category in our home. Can somebody type in the comments what that one verse is, if you remember? One verse that we couldn't say is the shortest verse in all of Scripture. It's John chapter 11, verse 35. And it says, Jesus wept. We can never say Jesus wept as our memory verse. But today, that's the text that I want to preach. John chapter 11, verse 35. Jesus wept. Today, for just a few moments, I want to talk from this thought: human nature.
Looking out across my lifetime, and sometimes I want to cry, but they say no, you don't have time, but I can't move right now. When they say why, yeah, I tell them that it's human nature. Why? I was created this way. Why? Yeah. I tell them that it's human nature. Why? I was created this way. Looking out at what surrounds me, sometimes I feel so drained, but they tell me to be strong now. But my tears ease my pain. When they say why? Yeah, I tell them that it's human nature. Why? I was created this way. When they say why? I tell them that it's human nature. Why? I was created this way. God made me this way. I was created this way. When they say why? I tell them that it's human nature. Why? I was created this way. Let it all fall down. Let the tears, let them all fall down. Why? Let them all fall down. Let them all fall down. They say why? I tell them that it's human nature. Why? I was created this way. When they say why? I tell them that it's human nature. Why? I was created this way. Created this way.
The year was 2009. U.S. Airways pilot Chelsea Sullenberger, affectionately known as Sully, was the pilot of Flight 1549, heading from New York to Charlotte, North Carolina, when the Airbus he was flying struck a flock of birds in midair before they could even get out of New York. This bird strike caused failure in both engines in midair. So now Sully is flying a huge piece of metal through the sky, carrying 155 people, including himself, when both of his engines go out. His initial involuntary reaction to this traumatic experience while in the air was a combination of fear and shock. After processing that reaction, Sully and his crew took a look at their various backup systems to determine what was the best route to take. And in response to this situation, he concluded the only option they had was an emergency water landing in the Hudson River. His first desire was to return safely to an airport, but he concluded that was improbable, probably impossible. But he made an emergency water landing in the Hudson River. And here's the beautiful thing about it. All 155 souls represented on that plane survived to tell the story. It seemed initially that this was a clear-cut case of heroism. Everybody sang his praises until the National Transportation Safety Board, also known as NTSB, concluded there was a high probability that Sully could have returned the plane back to one of the local airports. And they suggested that the water landing probably was not necessary. So what initially looked like a clear-cut case of heroism was now being deemed a case of human error. This investigation weighed heavily on Sully as the national media hounded him and his family for weeks after this incident. This investigation culminated in a hearing with the NTSB where they showed computerized simulations mimicking the events in the air. And in these computerized simulations that mimic the bird strike, the air conditions, the distance to the various airports, these simulations show that the plane could have been safely returned to a local airport. But Sully recognized in this hearing that there was a flaw in the simulation. Sully said to the investigators, "The computer cannot accurately simulate the human component of this scenario. In your simulation, everything is pre-planned. The computer knows exactly what to do as soon as there is a bird strike. You're taking this lightly that there were actual humans in that cockpit. So Sully requested that the investigators redo the simulation using human pilots. They honored his request. They redid the simulation using human pilots. And to Sully's dismay, when they did the simulation, putting the humans in the cockpit, they were still able to return the plane back to a local airport. So it would seem at this moment that this was not an issue of heroism, but rather human error. Flashback 2,000 years, we find Jesus in Jerusalem in John chapter 11. He has just received word that his dear friend Lazarus in Bethany is deathly ill. Mary and Martha, Lazarus's sisters and Jesus's good friends, send for Jesus to come back to Bethany immediately to see about his friend who was deathly ill. Jesus decides against going back immediately. He stays in Jerusalem 2 more days to finish up his business. Then he tells his disciples, okay, now I'm ready to go back to Bethany. His disciples responded with arguments for why he shouldn't go. They were concerned for his safety if he returned to Bethany. So on one side, he has his dear friends who are asking him to return immediately. On the other side, he has his disciples who are arguing he should not return at all. Anybody else ever been there? You ever found yourself in a situation where the people that you love and trust are giving you mixed messages? Where on one hand, you have people telling you to stay, and on the other hand, you have people telling you to go. On one hand, you have people telling you to push forward, and on the other side, you have people telling you to stand still. On one side, you have people telling you to keep secrets. On the other side, you have people telling you to expose the truth. What do you do in a situation like that, when the people that you trust, the wise counsel that you sought, gives you mixed signals and mixed messages? Well, if we follow the example of Jesus here in the text, Jesus suggests that you go with your gut. I know that's taboo. You're not supposed to say go with your gut from the pulpit because we're supposed to lean on God for everything. But have we ever considered that sometimes God speaks to us through our gut? That sometimes your intuition is your inspiration, that sometimes the voice in your gut is the only voice you can trust. Sometimes you got to go with the God in your gut. Jesus said, I'm not going to do exactly what everybody wants me to do, but I'm going to do what God is telling me to do in my gut. I want you to just type in the comments, I'm going with my gut. I'm going with my gut. Type it in the comments. I'm going with my gut. Jesus goes with his gut. He doesn't return immediately, but he doesn't completely put it off. He goes back to Bethany. When Jesus arrives at Bethany to see about his friend Lazarus, he is met with a mixture of responses. When he arrives, some people are relieved to see him, while others in the crowd are criticizing his presence. Jesus takes all of this in. Even his friend Mary and her people, when they approach him, they are weeping, they are wailing, they are devastated, because at this point, Lazarus is not just deathly ill, but he is deceased. He's been in the grave 4 days. They sought for Jesus to come back while he was still living, but because Jesus went with his gut, when he got back, Lazarus was already deceased. When Jesus encounters this experience, his initial reaction is a mixture of anger and sadness. If you get an opportunity, go and look at the story. I'm giving you the cliff notes right now, but it clearly states that he was angered by what he saw. He was sad about what he experienced. I think it's interesting that Jesus shows us you can experience anger and sadness at the same time, because frequently we think it has to be one or the other. Especially in men, we see anger as a sign of strength and sadness as a sign of weakness. But Jesus shows us in one human being, all at the same time, you can be angry and sad. That sometimes life will present us with circumstances that cause us to have mixed emotions. That sometimes life will present us with circumstances where we don't even know how to explain how we feel. Jesus encounters this moment. He's angry. Possibly he's angry because the people who should know him the best are doubting him. Jesus understood what he came to do. He did not return immediately because he knew what he had the power to accomplish in this moment. But the people who also knew him still doubted his capacity. And I'm not talking about some hopeful wish that Jesus had that maybe he could bring Lazarus back. I'm talking about it based on what he's already done. By this time in his ministry, he's already publicly raised at least 2 people from the dead. So he's already done this, yet people are criticizing him and doubting him and talking about him as if he can't do again what he did before. Some of you, just like me, may feel like that sometimes, that the people who know you the best are still doubting you, not based on some aspirational goal, but based on what you've already done. They're still doubting you. Some of you have outperformed at your job time and time again, and you're still getting passed up for promotions. That's all right to be angry about situations like that. Some of you have bent over backwards for people that you love, only to have them question your love and your motives. That's all right to be angry about situations like that. I've just come to encourage you. Their doubt does not dismiss your capability. Again, their doubt does not dismiss your capability. I still want to acknowledge right there, though, that situations like that can be frustrating. They can be infuriating. They can be maddening. But I don't want you to feel bad for being mad. No, that's just human nature. It's an involuntary reaction to get angry at times. I know we as a ministry are engaged in the practice of Bible criticism as we go through our faith journey. But I do want to acknowledge here that not even the Bible tells us not to be angry. The Bible actually suggests the exact opposite. It was in his letter to the Ephesians that Paul admonishes them, be angry. Stop right there. You were waiting for me to go to the next clause, but can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that Paul told the church at Ephesus, be angry. He follows it up with and sin not. But first, we need to take a moment and just acknowledge that we have a right. We actually have a command at times to be angry. The anger is not the sin. It's when the anger controls your response that you go into sin. But first, we ought to be angry. There are some circumstances and situations in life that should anger us. Seeing black Haitian asylum seekers hunted down with whips on horseback at our southern border should make any follower of Jesus angry. Seeing people forced into homelessness and poverty in one of the wealthiest countries on the planet should make some people angry. Seeing gay teens forced into homelessness by their own families as a result of their sexual orientation should make some people angry. Some circumstances should make you angry. Anger is a natural reaction. It's human nature. Not only was Jesus angry, but Jesus was also sad. I know generally when we look at this text, we like to highlight the miraculous power of Jesus's divinity, but I just want to take a moment to focus on Jesus's humanity, because sometimes Jesus's humanity gets lost in his divinity when we talk about his ministry. But in this moment, he's not just divine, he's showing his humanity. He's angry and he's sad. He's sad because his friend is dead. He's sad because his other friends are sad about his friend dying. Yes, Jesus knows that he can bring Lazarus back from the dead, but that doesn't change the fact that at least for now, Lazarus is gone. And Jesus is sad. He's sad by what he sees. Anger, sadness, and other emotions oftentimes are involuntary reactions. I know we live in a generation where people are looking for reasons to get offended. People try to get offended by everything because the minute we see something that makes us slightly uncomfortable, instead of recognizing it as different, we automatically assume that it's wrong and offensive. In this generation, we have some people in progressive spaces who get upset when you refer to God as he. And then you have people in conservative spaces who are angry when you refer to God as she. And then some of everybody gets righteous indignation when we refer to God as they, as if God is not all of the above and then some. I'm not talking about moments to look for reasons to get offended. I'm talking about those situations that truly cause you pain because you see the pain that others are experiencing because of lies they've been told, because of how they've been marginalized, because of the pain that they're in. I'm saying that sometimes those emotions will come up unannounced. Sometimes they come from out of nowhere and catch you off guard. Sometimes they bubble up slowly and you feel them, but you just can't stop them. The reaction is human nature. But here it is. Here's my thesis. If you don't take anything from this message that I say today, I want to make sure you walk away with this. Your reaction may be involuntary, but your response should be intentional. I'm going to rewind and say that one more time because I need to make sure you take this with you throughout this week and the rest of your life. Your reactions may be involuntary, but your response should be intentional. Jesus was able to respond to the situation that he was facing because he took time to process his reaction. John 11:35 says, when he surveyed everything that was going on, Jesus wept. Jesus did not hold back his emotions because he needed to be strong for everybody else, but Jesus wept. Jesus did not suppress his tears because he was trying to be manly. No, Jesus wept. Jesus did not instantly lash out at the people who made him angry and lashed out at the people who caused his sadness, only to later regret those words. Jesus wept. He didn't rush, but he wept. Jesus wept, before he went to work. It was just human nature. It causes me to question what would have happened in this story had Jesus suppressed his emotions. What would have happened in this story had Jesus denied to himself that he was angry and denied to himself that he was sad? I'm not sure what would have happened here, but I'm reminded of a story in Numbers chapter 20 about Moses. In Numbers chapter 20, we learn that Moses' sister Miriam has just passed away, causing him sadness. And while he's dealing with the loss of his sister, the ungrateful people that he stuck his neck out on the line for are now complaining and criticizing him because they don't have enough water. He's angry because the crowds are criticizing him. He's sad because the loss of his sister. And now he has to go to God because the people want water. God tells Moses, this is what you do. There's a rock. I want you to speak to the rock, and the rock will bring forth water. Moses did not take the time, according to the text, to shed any tears. He didn't take any time to process the anger he was feeling about the people who he loved criticizing him unjustly. He just went straight to work without taking any time to deal with his emotions. And instead of speaking to the rock as God instructed him, the text says he struck the rock out of his anger. But here it is, the ungrateful people still got the water, but because he allowed his reaction to dictate his response, he missed out on his reward. Because he allowed his involuntary reaction to dictate his response. It's human nature, but your response should be intentional. Okay, that didn't work for you. Let me see if I can lay this right in your lap. Have you ever seen something hateful on social media? Have you ever received an insensitive email? Have you ever received an offensive text? And when you got it, your initial reaction was anger, was fury. You were ready to tell this person off. You were ready to tell them, don't you ever in your life come at me like that again. You were ready to give them every bit of your mind, not just a piece, but the whole thing. And then you started typing out your response, and you typed it all the way out. And before you press send, you deleted it. And then you typed it out again. And then you deleted it again. And then you typed it out again and deleted it one more time because you recognize you could not allow your reaction to dictate your response. Your reaction may be involuntary, but your response should be intentional. Jesus knew that. That's why he was able to accomplish what he accomplished in this story. And so did Sully. Sully knew you could not allow your reaction to dictate your response. If you haven't seen the movie based on this incident with Sully, you may be wondering, well, what happened? After the simulation, including the human pilots, showed that the plane could have returned back safely to the airport, Sully stopped and said, okay, can we get serious now? He said, here's the problem. You still haven't fully taken into account the human factor. The investigator said, Sully, what do you mean? We did what you asked us to do. We put human pilots in the cockpit and they were still able to get the plane back to the airport, meaning your water landing was human error, not heroism. Sully said, but these pilots are not behaving like human beings who are experiencing this for the first time. Even when you put the human pilots in the cockpit, everything is pre-planned. The millisecond, the birds strike the engine, they immediately make their turn to go back to the airport. You have them acting like robots. They didn't check any of their systems. They didn't take a moment to gasp, to look around, to figure out what was going on. It was like they rehearsed the whole thing. As a matter of fact, Sully found out that the pilots had an opportunity to rehearse this simulation 17 times before they did the actual run through in front of everybody else. So he's saying they have been prepared for this moment, but there's nothing that can prepare you for what we experienced that day. There are some situations in life that will come at you from out of nowhere, and human nature says you need time to react. In other words, the humans you included in this simulation were trained to act like robots. You've taken the humanity out of the cockpit. Here it is. Sully said to the investigators, if you're looking for human error, then make it human. That's it. If you're looking for human error, then make it human. Don't blame your humanity for things that go wrong when you don't give your humanity any space to exist. If you're looking for human error, then make it human. Don't act like a robot. I've just come to tell you today, listen, don't allow anyone to force you into living your life as if it's a simulation. You are not a robot. You have feelings. You sometimes will have involuntary reactions. The message here is don't allow the reaction to dictate your response. Your reaction may be voluntary. Let your response be intentional, because sometimes things will come from out of nowhere and hit you like a ton of bricks, whether it's the loss of a loved one or complaints from the crowd or a bird strike on an Airbus. Sometimes life will hit you upside the head and you will have involuntary reactions, but I want you to stand up straight. I want you to process your emotions, and I want you to go through it and then gather yourself and make sure your response is intentional. You will experience the range of emotions during your life. It is human nature. It's human nature to be sad at times, to be angry at times, to be frustrated at times. And because it's human nature to experience those feelings, it is inhumane to deny their existence in your life. You will be sad. You will cry. Bishop Paul Morton said, your tears are expressions that can't be controlled. So I want you to know that although you will cry, no, God did not promise that you will never cry. The good news is God promised to wipe every tear from your eye. So in the same way we opened up this message with Michael Jackson, for all of my churchy members, we're going to close it with some Paul Morton.
Your tears are temporary. Your tears are just a release of the pain, sorrow, and grief. Your tears are expressions that came A little crying now, it's all right. But after a while, you won't have to cry no more. Don't you worry. God's gonna wipe every day of the way. Oh, I won't have to cry no more. Yeah, I won't have to cry no more. I won't have to cry no more. When I reach the other shore, joy and peace. Oh, what a blessed, sweet relief. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe all of my tears away. Listen to this. Weeping may endure for a night, oh, but joy will come in the morning. Oh my, hold on, yeah, to His unchanging hand. Brand new day, it's a dawning. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. Oh yes, God will wipe all of my tears away. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. Listen right here. You got to hold on. 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 You and you and you and you and you and you and you. Brand new day. It's a dawning. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. Oh, oh. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. Oh, God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe every tear from your eye. Let the tears fall. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. God's gonna wipe. Oh, wipe all of my tears away. Hallelujah.
The writer of the book of Ecclesiastes said it's so plain. To everything there is a time, there's a season, there's a purpose. There's a time to laugh, there's also a time to cry. We're just trying to let you know that it's okay to bring your whole self to church. It's all right to feel the emotions that you have and to feel the feelings that you feel. So here at the Faith Community, we want you to reconnect with the divine. But the way we want you to reconnect with the divine is first to reconnect with you. So this is our invitation to love. Before you can love your neighbor, before you can even show your love for our great God, you've ultimately got to show love for yourself. So take a moment right now, wherever you are, and reconnect with you. Feel who you are. Feel who God created you to be. Love you. Here's the next invitation that I want to give to you. It's to connect with us here at the Faith Community. You say, boy, this is disruptive. This is revolutionary. I've not heard this before. Well, we've got more opportunities for you to hear messages just like the one you heard today. So we invite you to connect with us here at the Faith Community. How do you do that? Simple. Text the word disruptive to 855-706-1228. 855-706-1228. That will connect you with the Faith Community and all of this disruptive content, all of this information about how to love yourself more. You'll get plugged into, and you can hear more messages and experience more services like the one you've experienced today. And then here is the last invitation. You've been around the Faith Community for a little while now. You've heard this content and it has moved you. It has changed your life. We want you to take this relationship to a whole nother level. We want you to commit to the Faith Community. Another very simple process. Go to our website and you'll see the drop-down menu once you get there. When you get to our website, click membership form. And it takes just about 60 seconds. We want to find out a little bit more about who you are and what you would like to do here at the Faith Community. And once you fill out that form, our relationship goes to a whole nother level. You're not just a member of TFC, you can be a part of the leadership of TFC, which means that you could help share this information with people all across the globe. Thank you for watching today, and I sure hope, as a matter of fact, more than hope, I know that your life has been changed by this particular service. Love you and feel every emotion that you have and every feeling that you feel. Have a wonderful Saturday, and we'll see you soon.